Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Kirk-Ballard, and I'm here with Dr. Karen Panter and for the HortLegends interview. And we're going to start with this first question. What is your horticultural specialization, and what are the primary positions you have held?
My specialization is floriculture. I started out years ago as a floriculture student at Colorado State. Ended up with my bachelor's and doctorate from CSU with a master's at Nebraska in between. And I have been in extension or an extension related position for the vast majority of my career. I spent 10 years in extension with Colorado State as a multi-county regional greenhouse specialist, which is obviously my specialty. Greenhouse crop production and greenhouse management were what I focused on and still do. And then I ended up, after 10 years at CSU, I went on to the University of Wyoming. And most people don't associate horticulture and Wyoming in the same sentence, but it's actually, and I'm going to say this tongue in cheek, it's a huge growing industry in Wyoming. And it kept me busy for 25 years. And so I was at UW until I retired January of 23.
Yay, congratulations. All right. So what has horticulture meant to your life and career?
Oh, everything. I basically grew up, my dad's a musician or was a musician, and my mother was a teacher. And horticulture was a completely foreign concept to them. And they sort of assumed, I think, that I would end up in music or one of the arts or something. Well, my first semester at Colorado State as a freshman, I changed my major to horticulture and I never looked back. And I love it. I get the chance to go get dirty. I'm happiest in the greenhouse, anybody's greenhouse. It doesn't matter how big or small. Give me 1,000,000 square feet. I'm perfectly happy. It's like my second home. And so horticulture has been a means for me to kind of spread my wings. And by the time I retired a year and a half ago, I had been able to travel and meet people from all over the world and teach some very exceptional and some not quite so exceptional students. Work with graduate students, some of whom are here, and graduates actually, they did finish. And so it's been quite a journey, and I still do the music and the artsy thing, but they're avocations, they're not vocations. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my time in horticulture, and a lot of it I owe, and this is not, this is, just something that I've grown up with is ASHS. I've been a member since 1980.
Amazing. That's great. That's something to be very proud of.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So what sparked why did you change majors to horticulture?
Well, I started out at CSU as a language major, actually, with music on the side. And one of the guys in the dorm, you have to remember, this was 1975, and pretty much anything went. And dorms now are still co-ed, but at the time it was kind of a new concept. And anyway, one of the guys on the other side of the floor in the guys' wing was a hort major, and he kept coming back to the dorm with all these wonderful plants and cuttings and flowers. And I started talking to him, and he said, yeah, it's just a really fun way to, earn a living. And so I kind of looked into it and realized that CSU actually had and still has one of the premier horticulture departments in the country. And so I changed my major, and that's all I've done ever since.
That's awesome. I was just curious what sparked that, because I too started off as a music major, took a botany class, took a biology class and loved the plant portion of it, and decided, let me explore plants.
Should do this, yeah. Right. And
Exactly.
I come from you may come from a long line of farmers too, and you go into I do the ancestry thing for my family, and a lot of my ancestors were.
Yeah, you
So
said,
it's in the blood.
you said Nebraska, and my mom's from Nebraska, and
Oh.
she was her family raised corn. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
farmers. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so our next question is, what do you consider to be the most rewarding part of your career in horticulture?
Um, some of it has to do with just my job in particular, because I had a tremendous job. Both of them were awesome, CSU and Wyoming. And by the time I had been at UW for a few years, I was the only horticulturist, and so I could pretty much pick and choose what I wanted to do, and it was easy for me to focus. So that was really helpful just on the job side. But from a more personal perspective, the travel and one thing that's been really meaningful to me is ASHS being in a different spot every year. And I've been going. I did miss last year's simply because I had just retired and wasn't terribly keen on going back to Florida. So sorry for you from Florida. Anyway, we'd been in Orlando for several years, at ASHS, and so I thought, well, I'll just skip this one. But and I've been able to go to China and Mexico and Costa Rica and Canada and of course a gazillion places in the United States and Europe. And so that has been eye-opening, and you get to see horticulture in so many different lights, I guess is the best way to say it. So yeah, it's been it's a lot of fun. I'm not much of a people person, which is funny for a teacher because I did teach a lot of classes for a lot of years. But just meeting people from all over the country, I kind of thrive on diversity. And so not only in my plants, but also in my general life, I love seeing people from different countries and like hearing different languages. And
Yeah,
that's always fun.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you been a member of ASHS? You told us, and how has the society influenced your career?
All of the above. Yeah, I think I was when I graduated from CSU with my bachelor's, I was 79, and I joined the horticulture at that time it was horticulture at Nebraska. Shortly thereafter, I started my master's the following January. And that was when the first meeting I went to actually was at CSU. That first year I had joined CSU or ASHS in 1980. And so I've been coming, there were a few years there where I was kind of, as many of us were, a little aimless, I guess is the best way to put it, and kind of not lost, but not sure what I wanted to do. So I did miss a few there. But once I got into a stable position with CSU and then UW, then I was able to come here. And it's been really helpful. I remember the days, when we had a group called Women in Horticulture within ASHS. And thankfully, we don't really need that anymore. I suspect that the women outnumber men. It's pretty close. I don't know, maybe 50-50. But anyway, it's thankfully we don't need that anymore. But I developed so many good female friends through that, who now most of us are all retired, and so we've kind of our careers have paralleled each other. So it's been kind of.
We actually talked about that today in the Deja meeting that we had about the women in horticulture. Yes, keeping that.
Yeah.
All right. So, what advice can you offer to students or young professionals in horticulture?
Get involved. It doesn't have to be on a huge extent, but whether it's just a departmental within your college or university activities, or something larger like a state organization or ASHS or that really helps. And you don't have to be the greatest scientist on the planet, which of course I am not. I'm not this is kind of funny because I never really thought of myself as a legend, but we'll go with it. So, but because but just get out there, make yourself known, meet a few people, doesn't, and eventually, the world catches up with you. Another thing that I didn't mention earlier was that I've been heavily involved within ASHS, and not only the commercial extension division, which is not called divisions. Like, well, I guess it is. And then also the certification programs. I started out with working with the CPH and APH programs years ago. And I'm still a CPH. I tried to look up my number. I'm not number one, but I'm pretty close. And so I worked with those programs, the succeeding program, which is now sunsetted. And now we have the professional programs that are a little different for people who are not necessarily academicians, but have been in the industry and would like to be certified on a national level. A lot of states have their own certification programs. Wyoming does not, but Colorado does, and so there, it varies. But ASHS's programming, as far as certification, has been real good. It was a lot of fun to get involved with.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What excites you most about the future of the horticultural industry and profession?
Oh boy. Well, another thing that I've gotten involved in is controlled environment, horticulture. Some people call it agriculture. I kind of grimace and say, that's supposed to be horticulture, but I don't make a big deal of it because I'm going to lose that battle every time. But and UW has recently, within the last couple of years, started a Center for Controlled Environment Ag. Laramie is home to one of the larger controlled environment companies, production, and with long story. But anyway, so that excites me, and it's interesting to see the evolution of how things have changed, especially just within the greenhouse industry. Now we're going to these ultra controlled, ultra robotic. Everything is automated, and I find that really a lot of fun to follow. And so, and I'm also very encouraged to see so many people from around the world here, especially in Hawaii. Of course, it's easy for many people to get to that normally would not be able to come. And so there's just so much energy and interest in not only the controlled environment, but all these other facets of horticulture that make it really fun. So yeah, it's going to be another interesting next few years in the controlled environment field. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for participating. And we love to celebrate you as a Hort legend. And who cares if you're number one or second?
Yeah,
whatever.
It's all good. You're right. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm still a CPH, so yeah, give me a call.
Take advantage of all those great programs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay.